In this video, we are going to revise some questions from Mathematics Paper 2 of 2021 GCE. Now here we have the first question, question 1a, simplify a squared times x squared minus b squared times y squared over ax plus by. So let's first begin by rewriting the question. Now, our first step is to check if each party, the numerator and the denominator, if they are all factorized. So we can see that the denominator party is factorized while the numerator is unfactorized. So what we are going to do is we need to factorize the upper part. Now, we can see that each term on the numerator part is raised to the power 2. So we can use the difference of two squares. So let's begin. So the first step that we need to do is we need to open or write two pairs of brackets. Okay, so for the denominator party, I'll just write it like this. Then we have two a's, two x's, two b's, and two y's. So we are going to separate them. So we are going to have one a in the first bracket, then the other one in the second. Then we'll do the same to the other remaining. So we have x. So one should have a positive sign, the other one should have a negative sign. B, y, and y. So now we can see that we are done factorizing. Now let's compare the denominator. So ax plus by is equal to the ax plus by in the first bracket. So we can cancel this. So if we cancel this, we have ax minus by over, since the numerator has been cancelled, there is a 1 remaining. So if we divide 1 into this, our final answer is ax minus by. So this is our final answer. Now let's move on to question B. Given that the geometric progression 4, 2, 1 dash dash, find the seventh term. So the formula for geometric mean is Tn is equal to a multiplied by r raised to the power n minus 1. N denotes the number of terms. Then our a is our first number in our sequence. Then our r is the common ratio. So let's begin by finding the common ratio. So the formula is r is equal to second term divided by first term. So from the numbers, we can see that our first term is 4. Then our second term is 2. Our third term is 1. So from there, we can now substitute. Second term is 2 over 4. So if we can reduce this number, this will give us same as 1 over 2. So we can leave our answer as a fraction, or if we want, we can divide. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. So this is our common ratio. Now we can proceed. So n is equal to 7, since we are looking at the number of the seventh term, which is the number which is on position number 7. So let's continue. We have t where there is n, we put 7. Our a is first number 4. Common ratio is 0.5 raised to the power 7 minus 1. So do not proceed by multiplying 4 times 0.5. First, we need to simplify 0.5 raised to the power 7 minus 1 before multiplying it with 4. So we just bring down our 4. 0.5. 7 minus 1 is 6. So now let's raise what is 0.5 raised to the power 6. So on my calculator, 0.5 raised to the power 6, I'm getting 0.012625. Now the final answer we multiply by 4. So I'm getting 0.0625. So this is the number on position number 6. Okay, now let's move on to question Roman number 2. Here we are looking for the sum of the first 9 terms. Now for this one, this is a finite sequence, so we are going to use the formula sum of n terms is equal to r 1 minus r raised to the power n over 1 minus r. So we are going to use this formula since the common ratio is less than 1. So let's proceed. So we have sum n, we have 9 terms this time. Our a is our first number, open bracket, 1 minus 0.5. So 0.5 raised to the power 9 over 1 minus 0.5. So let's now find our final answer. So I'm just going to punch it at once. So we have 4. Okay, first, let's just punch it. 4, 1 minus 0.5 raised to the power 9 divided by 1 minus 0.5. So I'm getting about 7.984375. So the reason why I just wanted to do it at once is I have no space here. Now let's move on to Roman number 3. Find the geometric mean of 196 and 15,625. So the geometric mean is just the number, the middle term of a geometric sequence. For instance, if we have three terms, a, b, c, the geometric mean is b, since it is the middle term. So for us to find b, we need to multiply a and c, then find the square root, that is the value of b. So we can now make the pattern 15, we are looking for the middle term, multiply 15 times 196. I said 15 for some reasons. So this is 196, then 15,625. Okay, so let's find the middle term. So say this is our a, b, our c. So the formula is b is equal to plus or minus the square root of a times b times c. So plus or minus the square root of 196 times 15,625 plus or minus. So let's look at this number. What number are we getting? So 196 times 15,625. So I'm getting 3,062,500. So we can now finish it here. The square root of this answer. So it is 1,750. So this is how you can find the geometric mean. Okay, so now we move on to question 2a. Solve the equation 3x plus 5 over x is equal to 12. Giving your answer is correct to 2 decimal places. So this is a quadratic equation. So 3x plus 5 over x is equal to 12. Now we can see that it's not in its quadratic form, so we need to write it in a quadratic form. So there are so many ways in which you can make it, but for me I will just multiply everything times the denominator, which is x. So this x, the first one will multiply with 3x, the second one will multiply by 5 over x, The third one we multiply with 12. So let's begin. 3x times x is 3x squared plus, so this is 5 over x times x. So we can say that these will cancel, giving us 5 plus 12 times x is 12x is 12x. Now, after reaching here, now we can see that we have at least the order. So we just need to move our 12x to the left side. So this will give us 3x squared minus 12x, the sign has changed, plus 5 is equal to 0. So we have it in a standard form. So here we have a, b, c. So we can proceed now. Let's apply the formula. X is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So let's do substitutions. X is equal to, the value of b is negative 12 plus or minus, even here we have negative 12 squared minus our a is the number in front of x squared, 3, our c is 5, everything over 2 times our a is 3. Okay, so now we can proceed. X is equal to, so negative times negative, here we get positive 12 plus, then negative 12 squared is 144 minus 4 times 3 times 12. So 4 times 3 times 5, we get 60 divided by 6. So let's finish it here. We get our 12 plus 144 minus 60, we get 84 over 6. Now here we can find the square root of 84. So 12 plus the square root of 84 is 9.16515 over 6. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to split this into two equations. One will have a plus, then the other one will carry a minus. So plus 9.1651539 over 6, or x is equal to 12 minus 9.1651539 over 6. So let's do the first part. 9.6515139 plus 12. So I'm getting 21.1651539 over 6. Then divided by 6, we have 3.527525232. Now our final answer, we are told to giving the answer correct to decimal places, so we need two numbers after the decimal, so 5 and 2. So our final answer will be 5.3. So 3.53. So here the last number in consideration is 2. After 2 we have 7, so we can get 1, we add on that one. So now let's finish the other side. So this is x is equal to 12 minus 9.1651539. So I'm getting 2.8348, another 4861, divided by 6. You see, so we divide by 6, 0.47247,468. Then our final answer, need two numbers here, so it's 0.47. so our 7 will not change since the number after 7 is less than 5. Okay, now we can move on to question 2b. A boy has a bag containing 5 green balls, 1 red ball, and 4 blue balls. A ball is selected at random from the bag and not replaced. A second ball is then selected. Draw a tree diagram to show the possible outcomes. So first, let's look at how many outcomes do we have. So here we can see that we have the first one, greeny, then you have reddy and blue. So here we are dealing with 3 chances, so our tree diagram will have 3 branches. So we can now draw. So this is our first selection. We'll have greeny, reddy, then our blue here. So we consider this one first selection. Now each branch will branch into another 3 branches. So here we are going to have 3 branches. So this is our second selection. Here we have green, reddy, blue. Let's go out here. Greeny, reddy, blue. Then here we are going to have blue, red, green. So this is our second selection. Now let's first find the total number of the balls. So it's 5 plus 1 plus 4. So 5 plus 1 is 6 plus 4. We have 10 balls in total. Okay, so now let's look at the first. So the first part, what you need to do is you just write the original probabilities, so you don't subtract. So our first one, we can see that we have 5, so it's 5 over 10. Then 5 over 10, our red is 1 over 10. Then our blue, 4 divided by 10. Now there is one condition, that a ball is selected at random from the bag and not replaced. Now we are just going to assume that the first, let's assume what was selected without replacement was green. So we can see that we have 4 remaining. So we have 4 over 9. So if the ball or an item is selected without replacement, even the total should be affected, should reduce by 1. Then for red we still have 1 over 9. Then for blue is 4 over 9. Now let's move on to the other branch. So for this branch, we are going to assume it was red that was picked without replacement. So this will be now 0 over 9. Now if we assume red is picked, green will remain the same, it's 5 over 9. Then for blue is 4 over 9. Now let's look at the last branch. For this one, we assume blue was the one picked without replacement, so it's 3 over 9. Then for red, 1 over 9. For green, we have 5 over 9. So I'm sure now you have seen the pattern. So let me see if I can show you the pattern. So the first part, if a boron item is picked without replacement, if the first branch here is affected, the other two branches should be written the way they are. Then for the second one, you need to subtract from this branch. Then for the last one, you need to subtract from that branch. So the affected branch, there are two branches, must be the same as the same. So this is our final answer for the first part. Now let's move on to the other question. Find the probability that the two balls are of the same color. So let's look at the possible outcomes. Here we can see we have BB. Then for this one, it's BR. For this one is BG. Here, RB. Here, RR. Here, RG. For this one, GB. Here, GR. For this one, GG. So if the question is requiring you to consider two balls of the same color, we'll look at where we have the same letters. So BB, GG. From there we have RR. Then we also have BB. So we can now find the probability. So say probability two balls of the same color. So this will be GG plus RR plus BB. Now let's do math. G, the first G is 5 over 10 times Z. This is 4 over 9 plus C. R, it's 1 over 10 times Z. 0 over 9 plus 4 over 10 multiplied by 3 over 9. 5 times 4 is 20 over 90 plus 1 times 0 is 0 over 90, or we can just say 0, plus 4 times 3 is 12 over 90. So we can just remove this. We can add them directly since they have the same lowest common denominator, 90. So we can just say 20 plus 12 is 32 over 90. So we can leave our answer like this, or we can reduce. So which number divides can go into 32 and 90? Let's try 2. 2 into 32 is 16 over 2 into 90 is 45. So we can just leave our answer here. So this is how we can simplify a question like this one. Okay, so now we can move on to question 4. Question 4a. For question 3, I've skipped it. It's for construction. I think I'll just make a video for that question. So here, in a group of 60 football fans, 37 support team A, 28 support team B, and 29 support team C. 2 support team A and team C only. 5 support team B and team C only. 7 support team A and team B only. 18 support team A only, and 10 support all the 3 teams. Illustrate this information in a Venn diagram. So the first step that we need to do is we need to draw a Venn diagram, and this Venn diagram will have 3 circles inside. Each circle represents a team. So we are going to have this circle, and we are going to make sure that all 3 circle intersect at one point, since we have a certain number of fans that were supporting the O3. So we'll call this one as team A, then team B, and this one team C. Now the first step that you need to do is we need to first write the number of those that did all the 3 teams. So we have 10. We have 10 support all the 3 teams. So we are going first to begin by, we write our 10 here. So this is the intersection of all the 3 sets. Now after writing the 10, we need to look at those that supported 2 teams only, and we can see that on each part here we have only. So we have here team A and team C only, team B and team C only. So if you have been given a question like this one and you have been given a condition of only, we are not going to subtract the 10. So let's look at the first one. 2 support team A and team C only. So team A and team C only, it's here. So this is where our 2 will be written. So we have 2. Then 5 support team B and team C only. Team B and team C only is here. So we put our 5 here. Then 7 support team A and team B only. So our 7 will be written here. Now from there we also have 18 support team A only. So our 18 will just be written here. No subtraction. Now we can go back to the information from the, let's look at 37 support team A. Let's see if 18, 17, 10 and 2, if this number will add up to 37, since 37 support team A. So let's try. So we have 18 plus 7 plus 10 plus 2. So 18 plus 7, 25, plus 10, 35 plus 2, 37. So we can see that we are okay, since the sum of these numbers corresponds to the total number of fans that supported team A. Okay, now let's move on to, we need to fill here where there is team B only. So what are we going to do? Let's look at the number of fans that supported team B, 28. So from 28 we already have 7, 10 and 15. So we need to subtract the sum of these 3 numbers from 28. So 7 plus 10 is 17. 17 plus 5 is 22. So if we subtract 28 minus 22 is 6. So we need a 6 here. Okay, so now let's look at the 29 support team C. So we have 29 minus, so from 29 we already have 2, 10 and 5. So 10 plus 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17. So 29 minus 17, this should give us 12. So we have our 12 here. Okay, so now let's see if this number will add up to 60, the total. So 18 plus 7 plus 10 plus 2 plus 12 plus 5 plus 6. So these numbers are adding up to 60. So we have done the first part. We have illustrated this information in a Venn diagram. So you need also to remember that whenever you're dealing with a question like this, make sure, if you have been given a total, make sure that the numbers that you've written must add up to 60. If the numbers were less than 60, that may indicate that maybe we have a certain number of supporters that did not support any of the 3 teams. Now let's move on to Roman number 2. Find the number of fans in B complement. So since we have this complement, we are saying that we are not going to include the fans from B. So the team B must be excluded. So our answer here will be, so if we exclude B, we exclude numbers like 7, 10, 5, and 6. So we have 18 plus 2 plus 12. 18 plus 2 is 20 plus 12, that is 32. Okay, let's move on to this one. I'll write it here. So number of fans of A intersection B complement. So intersection B complement A intersection B, this region here. This is our, so these numbers must not be part of our answer. So just consider 18 plus 2 plus 12 plus 5 plus 6. 18 plus 2, 20 plus 12, 32 plus 5, 37 plus 6, 43. Okay, now we can move on to C. Question C. So it's number A union B complement. So union is just the combination of those two sets. So we want to combine A and B. So if we combine A and B, let's remove A and B, everything in A and also everything in B. So we can see that we only have 12. So this is our answer. Question 4b, given that the determinant of the matrix A is -10, find the value of x. Okay, so let's look at how we can find the value of x given the determinant. So matrix A has entries 2x minus 1, 1, 4, -2. So from this matrix, these are major diagonal, or leading diagonal. Then for these are the minor diagonal. Okay, now let's look at the formula for the determinant. So determinant is equal to, we need to multiply entries from the major diagonal. So this is 2x minus 1 times 2 minus 4, or this should be -2 times 1. So now here we can see that we have been given the determinant, so we substitute where there is determinant, we put -10. Then we can expand -2 times +2x is -4x, -2 times -1 +2 minus 4 times 1 is just 4. So -10 is equal to, here we can see that we have 4x plus 2 minus 4. We can simplify it here. Here we can see that we are going to get -2. So since we subtract, then our -2 will shift to this side, giving us -10 plus 2 is equal to 4x. Then our final answer is 4x is equal to -10 plus 2 is -8 over 4 x is equal to -2. Okay, so let's make now the original matrix of A. So we we can substitute the x with the value that we have calculated. So here we have a 4, negative 2 and 1. So this one is 2x minus 1. So where there is x, we substitute with negative 2 minus 1. So negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4 minus 1, giving us negative 5. Okay, so here we have negative 5. Now let's proceed by finding the inverse of matrix A. So inverse is A raised to the power negative 1 is equal to 1 divided by determinant times its adjoint. So let's look for adjoint. So adjoint of matrix A, you interchange the position of the major diagonal, the elements in the major diagonal. So negative 2 will come here, negative 5 will come here. So that is for major diagonal. For minor diagonal, you just interchange the size. So this becomes negative 4, negative 1. Then our final answer, this will be A inverse is equal to 1 over, the determinant is negative 10. The adjoint is negative 2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 5. So this is our final answer. Move on to question 5a. Find the equation of the tangents. The curve y is equal to 5x cubed minus 7x squared plus 3x plus 2 at a point 1, 3. So the formula for the equation of the tangent. A tangent is a straight line, so you use y minus y1 is equal to gradient, open bracket, x minus c, x1. Now from the pair we can see that we have the x1 and y1. Now what is missing is we need to find the gradient. So what are we going to do? So the first step that we need to do is we need to differentiate the given equation for the curve. So we need to find the first derivative. So let's find the first derivative. So y is equal to 5x raised to the power 3 minus 7x raised to the power 2 plus 3x plus 2. So for those that you want more questions for derivatives, you can search for a video. I have it in my playlist. So let's begin. Here we are differentiating it is dy with respect to dx. So the rule is simple. We are going to use the power rule. We need to bring our 3 down, so the power should be written in front. So this becomes 3x, then you subtract 1 minus 7, we bring our 2, this becomes 2x, 2 minus 1 plus c. Here we have 3x raised to the power 1, it's 3, 1 minus c, 1. Then for the constant, the derivative of a constant is always 0. We can now proceed. Dy over dx is equal to 3x raised to the power 3 minus 1 is 2 minus 7, 2x, 2 minus 1 is just 1 plus 1 minus 1 is 0. Then we have dy over dx is equal to, we can now expand, 3 times 5 is 15, x squared minus 7 times 2 is 14, x raised to the power 1 plus, now here x raised to the power 0 is same as 1, so this is same as 3 times 1. So dy over dx is equal to 15x squared minus 4x plus 3. So after finding the first derivative where there is dy over dx, we substitute with m for the gradient, 15x squared minus 14x plus 3. Now from the point that we are given 1, 3, so the first coordinate 1 represents the x coordinate, so we are going to substitute x with 1. So let's find out the actual answer for the gradient. So it's 1 squared minus 14 times 1 plus 3. So 1 squared is 1 times 15. It's 15 minus 14 plus 3. Then our final answer is 15 minus 14 is 1 plus 3, giving us the gradient is 4. Then this gradient 4 is the gradient of the curve at the point of contact, at the point where the curve is meeting the tangent. Then also what you need to know here is the gradient of the curve is equal to the gradient of the tangent at the point of contact. So the same 4 is the one we are going to use now for finding the equation. So let's proceed by finding the equation. So our y1 is 3. Our gradient is 4x minus 1. Okay, so let's expand. We multiply. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So we need to shift this to the other side, giving us y is equal to 4x minus 4 plus 3. Our final answer is 4x minus 1. So whenever you are given an equation for a curve and asked to find the gradient, the equation of the tangent, so this is the way. Okay, so now we can move on to question 5b. In the diagram below, OA is equal to vector A, OB vector B, and X is the midpoint of AB. We can now study the diagram. Okay, so now express in terms of A and slash OB vector BA. So we want to find the vector from B to A. So whenever you are dealing with vectors, you need to find where you are going to, the routes where you're going to pass should be values. So we can say that we will move from B to O and O to A, since these contains the values. Okay, so now let's begin. So vector BA is equal to BO plus OA. Now here the vector OB is equal to vector B. What of BO? So BO, this simply means we are moving against the arrow, so we just introduce the negative sign. So this will be negative vector B plus. Now for OA, we are moving in the direction of the arrow, so we just get it the way it is. It's vector A. Then the rules as we need to begin with the positive, so it's A minus B. So this is the answer for this party. So we have the vector for BA. Now let's move on to vector AX. We want to move from A to X. Now the question is, do we have vector AB? Since X is a midpoint, so midpoint means it's a point that is cutting a given line into two equal parts. So AX is equal to BX, or the distance from A to X is equal to the distance from X to B. So we can just use the numbers in this case. So we say from A to X, we use the ratio, we have 1. And from X to B, we also have 1. So the total number of ratios is 2. Now, we want vector AB. But as we can see, we have this vector BA. So if we have vector BA, if we multiply vector B by negative, we are going to get vector AB. So it changes the direction. So we get vector AB. So what this means is we are going to multiply the vector for BA. So the vector for BA will multiply by negative. So this will be negative times this. So therefore our vector AB will give us negative times A is negative A plus B. Or what we just have to put to memory is, if you are trying to change the direction of a vector, just change the signs of a given vector. So our vector ax is just 1. The 1 is coming from this number that I've written here. So it's 1 over the total ratio is 2 of vector AB. So what this means is, from the vector AB, we just need half of it. We just need the half of it. That is the vector for this one. So it's half. Then the vector for AB is negative A plus B. So if we expand, it's negative 1 over 2 of vector A plus 1 over 2 of vector B. So begins the positive 1 is negative half vector B minus negative half vector A. If you want, you can combine it by finding the lowest common denominator, then you make it 1, or we can just leave it here. Okay, so now let's proceed to OX. So we want to find the vector from O up to X here. So from OX, we are going to say OX is equal to, we'll move from O to A, since we have this vector, plus A to X. We use the same vector that we've just calculated. So O to A is vector A, plus our AX is positive B minus half A. So we can see that we have A here. We'll collect the like terms. So it's A over 1 minus 1 over 2 of vector A plus 1 over 2 of vector B. So the lowest common denominator for 1 and 2 is 2. 1 into 2 is 2 times A, 2A, minus 2 into 2, 1 times negative B is just, negative A is just A, plus half of vector B. Our final answer is 2A minus A is just A, vector A, which is half A, plus C, half vector B. Now we can move on to question Roman number 2. Given that OC, so from O to C, we have been given this vector. It's 3A. Express BC in terms of A and B. So want to find the BC. So for us to find BC, we'll move from B to O and O to C. So move, find BO plus C, OC. Now vector for BO, it's negative B, since we are moving in the opposite direction, plus the vector for OC is 3A. Then it's just 3A minus 3B. So this is our final answer for this question. Move on to question 6a. Express 2 over 2x minus 1 minus 3 over 3x minus 1 as a single fraction in its simplest form. So here we have two fractions, this fraction and this fraction. So our work is, we need to combine the two fractions so that we can form one, and not only that, we need to simplify it. So the first step that we need to do here, we need to find the lowest common denominator. So for a particular problem like this one, the lowest common denominator, you just put the denominator for each fraction in brackets. So 2x minus 1 in bracket and 3x minus 1 also in bracket. Then from there we are going to divide. So 2x minus 1 into 2x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. So this 2x minus 1 will cancel with 2x minus 1, giving us this. So is 2 times 3x minus 1 minus, then we do the same, 3x minus 1 into 3x minus 1, these will cancel, giving us 3 times 2x minus 1. So the pattern here is just this number 2 here will multiply with 3x minus 1, then the 3 will multiply with 2x minus 1. Okay, let's now expand. So 2 times 3x is 6x, times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3 over 2x minus 1, 3x minus 1. Then we can collect the like terms. So 6x minus 6x minus 2 plus 3 over 2x minus 1, 3x minus 1, then 6x minus 6x, these two cancel, we can just say 0. Then negative 2 plus 3 is just 1, so it's 1 over 2x minus 1, 3x minus 1. Right? So this is our final answer in its simplest form. Okay, so now we move on to question 6b. The program below is given in form of a pseudocode. Then we have these sentences representing our pseudocode. Now our task is to draw a corresponding flowchart for the pseudocode. Now a flowchart uses some visual polygons. So let's first begin. So from this pseudocode, our first statement is we need to start. Okay, so let's start our program here. So we can use an oval shape. So we can start. From there, we write the arrow showing the next step. So the next step here is we need to enter. So enter length. So length indicates the input. So we use a parallelogram. So say enter length. From there, we have this statement. If length less than 0, so here we need to use a diamond and we need to ask a question. So this changes into a question if you are dealing with a flowchart. So if becomes is, so you need to ask a question. So say is L length less than 0. So we are expecting to have two answers. One is yes and one is no. So here we'll say yes. So now if we say is L less than 0, meaning we are saying it's a negative number, you can't find or calculate volume with a negative number. So we'll say error message. So we'll say display error message. Even this, so display error message, this is our output. So output is also written under parallelogram. So we can now draw the arrow. We need to re-enter a positive one. Now let's say if we said no. So if we said no, we are meaning our error is greater than 0, meaning it's a positive number. So we can move to the next step. So else enter height. So let's enter height. So we enter our height. So from there we can see that we have this if height less than 0, so we need to make it as a question. So if changes into easy, so we need to make it a question. Is h height less than 0? Here also we're expecting to have two answers. Let's say we say yes. If we say yes, we are saying our h is negative number and we cannot find a volume if the height is negative. So we are going to say display error message. So we need to re-enter a positive one. So we can just draw this arrow going here saying re-enter. Now let's say we said no. So if we say no, we are assuming that our height is positive and our error is positive. Now we can go to do the calculation. So our calculation is, so we can say calculate volume. Calculate volume. So volume is equal to 1/3 times the length. This means raised to the power 3. This should be length, not raised to the power 3, should be raised to the power 2. So raised to the power 2, then multiply by height. So this should be written under the rectangle. So this shows the processing. So after that, we need to have now display volume. So since we have calculated, we'll say display volume. So this volume is also the output. We use this one. Then from there, you just now stop. So this should be written below this arrow here. I've just run out of space. So as you can see, this computer question, kind of question, has a pattern that you need to follow. For example, the languages, if under the pseudocode, if we have a question like if length is greater or less, under the flowchart it changes to is. So remember that. Then if you are using the less symbol, remember that you are, in most cases, if you are calculating volume, area or perimeter and you are using a less symbol, you are going to get an error message. Okay, so now we can move on to section B. From this section, we'll just look at two questions, question 7 and question 12. So let's begin with question 7. For the other questions, we need to make also a video for each, since they require graphing. Okay, so now let's start. We have been given this triangle, and we can see that we have been given the all three sides. The first question is we want to find angle BAC. So BAC, we are looking for the middle letter. We are looking for this angle here. Now, for those that may find it difficult to identify the rule that you should use or how to determine which rule to use, you just have to look at what you are given. So in our case, we are solving for an angle, and if you are given three distances, asked to find the angle, you are going to use the cosine rule. So cosine rule is used when three distances are given. Then sine rule is used when two distances and one angle are given. Then you use cosine rule. So let's first see, indicate the sides corresponding to each angle. So here this CB is A, then here we have a C, here we have a B. Okay, so now let's move on. So the formula is A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. Now in our case, there is no need of changing the letters. We're just going direct since the letters are in order according to the given number. So let's begin. So the value of A is 300 meters. So we have 300 meters. We can just forget the meter for now. 300 squared. Then our b is 45 squared plus 275 squared minus 245, then 275 cos a. So 300 squared is 300 times 300, giving us 90,000. Then let's look at 45 squared. So I'm getting 12,025 plus 275 squared. So I'm getting 75,625 minus, so let's now multiply 2 times 45 times 275. So I'm getting 24,750 cos A. So what we have just done is we have substituted the numbers and have squared. Now from there we can now add these two numbers. So 2025 plus 75,625. So this is giving me 77,650 minus 24,750 cos A. Then upon reaching here, we are going to correct the like terms. This number will shift to this side, giving us 90,000 minus 77,650 is equal to negative 24,750 cos A. So now we can do math. So 90,000 minus 77,000. So minus so here we'll get 12,350 is equal to negative 24,750 cos A. Now here we can now divide, since we are solving for cos A, we can divide by negative 24,750, even here by negative 24,750. So we can cancel this one, giving us cos A is equal to, so 12,350 divided by negative 24,750. So I'm getting negative 0.498989, another 8999. Then we are going to move our cos to this side, giving us A is equal to cos of inverse of this number, negative 0.4, negative 0.49898989. Then my final answer, you just go on the calculator, you press shift, cos answer. So I'm getting about 119.9. So 119.9 degrees. So this is the angle. Or if you want, we can just round it off, though it won't be that accurate. So we get 120. So we get 120. So this is our 120 degrees. So this is how you can find the angle given three distances using cosine rule. Okay, now let's move on to question Okay, so we can now move on to question Roman number 2, area of triangle ABC. So the formula for area is half AB sin C. Now we need to be careful. Since we are given all the three distances, we need to look at the two distances that we are going to use. So we are going to use the distance for B and C, since the distance for B and C are the one forming the given angle. So these are the two distances that we are going to use. So our formula is area is equal to half BC sin A. So BC indicates the two distances, then A indicates the angle. So let's now find the actual answer. Half distance B is 45 meters, then distance C 275 meters, sin the angle is 120. So let's now look at this. So 45 times 275 cos sin 120, I'm getting 10,717.06. I'll just write the whole numbers, then we'll round it off when we find the final answer, over 2. So we can now divide by 2. So I'm getting about 5,358.5 meters squared. So the area, you need to have a squared, or if you want, we can round it off to the whole number, giving us 5,359 meters squared. So this is our area. Now let's create some space. Okay, so we can move on now to the shortest distance from A to BC. So shortest distance is equal to 2 times A divided by B. 2 times the area is 5,358.5 meters squared, over the base. So we are moving from A to BC. So this BC, this distance for BC is the one we are going to consider for B. So over 300 meters. Okay, now we can do the mathematics. So say 2. So I'm getting about now 10,717.06437 meters squared divided by 300 meters. So we can say that 1 meter, this will cancel, giving us this. So this number now, answer divided by 300, I'm getting 35.7 meters. So this is our possible shortest distance that we can have on this problem. Now let's move on to question B. Solve the equation cos theta is equal to negative 0.5, for which 180 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to 360. So let's see how we can solve this. So under this question, we need to use the quadrants. Now we can see that the number is negative. So let's look at this number. So the number is cos theta is negative 0.5. So we need the quadrants where our cos is negative. So cos is negative in the first and the second quadrant. Now from there we can see that we are going to first find the cos of this. So we are going to shift this, giving us theta is equal to cos of negative 0.5 5. So if you punch this on the calculator, cos of negative 0.5 will give us 120. Now this 120 is the angle in the second quadrant, but according to this limit, we want angles above, from 180 up to 360. So we want an angle in the second quadrant. So in the second quadrant. So what you do here, we are going to, let's say cos of, instead let's remove the negative so that we have 0.5. so cos of 0.5 will give us what? 60. So now since we have the 60 in the first quadrant, we are going to now add 60 plus 180. So our final answer is 180 plus 60. We can see that we have 240. 240 is from the third quadrant. So this is how you can find the answer. Okay, so now let's move on to question C. So for question C, we can see that we need to simplify an algebraic expression. So what I'm going to do is, first I'll expand, and I'm going to expand. So let's say we have this 18. Okay, before we expand, let's just copy it the way it is. So what I'm going to do is the division will change to multiplication. Then we need to reverse the fraction where the 15 now becomes the numerator. Over 24a times 8 c squared d raised to the power 3 over 30 a cubed b. So what I'm going to do is, first I'll just simplify the first part. The last part I'll just leave it for later. So let's expand. So for 18 is same as 3 times 6. That is our 18. Then our a is same as a squared is same as a times a. Then here we have our b over we have this 16. So for 16, I'll just say 16 times c to the power 3 is same as c times c. Then we have d times d. Then times our 15, I'll just write it like that. So 15 times c times b times b times b over 24 is same as 6 times 4 times a. Then for this part, I'll just write it 8 c squared d to the power 3 over 30 a raised to the power 3b. Now let's see if we can cancel the first two parts. So I'll cancel this 6 and this 6 here. I'll cancel this a and this a. Then I can cancel the c also here. Okay, so let's see the remaining part. On top we have 3 times a times b over 16 times c times c times d times d. Then here we have this 15. So 15 times b times b times b over, here we have a 4 multiplied by 8. 8 is same as 4 times c squared times b, meaning d to the power 3, over 30 same as 15 times 2 times a to the power 3 times b. So let's cancel again. So 15 and this 15 goes, this 4 and this 4 goes. So this b and this one goes. What else? Okay, what else? Okay, so let's see. So we have 3 times a times b over 16 is same as 4 times 4 times c times d times d. Then here we can see that we have only b times 4 times c times d to the power 3 over 2 times a to the power 3. Okay, so we can cancel this 1a, giving us a squared. So cancel this c, this one, also this one. So cancel this d, so this 2d, remaining with that d. What else? Will cancel this 4 and this one. So hope I've not made a mistake. So our final answer will be now 3 times b times b. So 3b squared over 4 times 2. Okay, we have even d here. So 4 times 2, 8 times a squared, 8a squared. So hopefully I've not made a mistake by cancelling, but this is one of the ways in which you can simplify a question like this one. So we move on now to question 12. The points a, b, c and d are on the surface of the earth as shown in the following diagram. Take pi to be 3.142 radius, 370 kilometers, 37 nautical miles. Calculate the first one. Determine the difference in longitude between A and B. So difference, hapa no need of adding or subtracting. We have been given a number, so we want to find between A and B. So we are solving for this number here. So now let's look at C. The A and C are on the same longitude. D and B are on the same longitude also. Now since the difference in longitude between C and D is 85, the difference also between A and B will also be 85, since C and D, B and D are on the same longitude, so it's 85, this number given here. Then for Roman number 2, calculate the distance between points C and D in nautical miles. C and D, so this is along the equator. So the formula is distance is equal to theta over 360 2 pi r cos x. Now since we are looking at the one along the equator, we can ignore cos x, since we're just going to have cos 0, and we know that cos 0 is equal to 1. So whenever you are looking for the distance along the latitude of equator, you can just write the formula up to 2 pi r. So so distance is equal to, now the difference in latitude for C and D is 80, for longitude is 85 over 360 times 2 times 3.142 times the radius in nautical miles, 37. So let's now do 85 times 2 times 3.142 times 37, getting this number 1,800,035, 835,839.18 not comma divided by 360. So final answer, you divide by now 360, so giving me 5,099.6. If I round it off, it is giving me 0.55, so 0.6 not go mouse. Let's go to BD. So BD distance is equal to theta over 360 2 pi r. So under the distance along the longitude, you don't add cos. So distance is equal to the theta between BD is this angle 52 degrees. So you need to find a difference in latitude times 2 times 3.142 times z. So in kilometers we have 6370. So let's now do the math. So 52 times 2 times 3.142 times 6370. So I'm getting 2 million. So 2,081,512.16 over 360. So we can now divide by 360. So I'm getting 5,781.97. So if we round it off, we are going to get 5,780. So this will just give us 2.0 kilometers. So since we can just get a 1 from 9 there. So this is how we can simplify a question like this one. Question B of question 12. The following diagram shows the frustum of a cone. The radii of the circles at the top and bottom are 1.5 centimeters and 5 centimeters respectively. Its height is 7 centimeters. The question is now calculate the volume of the frustum. So let's look at the volume. The formula. So the volume of the frustum is equal to, we need to find the volume of a big cone minus volume of a small cone. So the volume is 1/3, so pi r squared h. So the reason why r and h are written in squared, this represents the larger cone or big cone minus 1/3 pi r squared h. So now let's look at, we have the radius for the big cone 5 centimeters. For the smaller cone we have it. Then the missing part is we need to find the height of the smaller cone and also the height for the larger cone. So how do you do? Let's try to complete this one as now a cone. So as you can see, if we have made this as a cone, we can see that now we have two cones. There is this smaller cone in green plus the height in red. Then there is also this larger cone where we have this height in red plus the one in white. Now the one in white we have been given, so this is 7 centimeters. Then for the smaller cone, the height for the smaller cone we don't have, is x. So what are we going to do to find this x? So what we are going to do is we are going to use the principle for similar figures. So we have two similar figures. There is one smaller cone and the larger cone. So for this one, what you do is you say height of the smaller cone divided by height of the bigger cone is equal to radius of the smaller cone divided by radius of the larger cone. So this is the principle behind. Okay, so let's now look at the height of the smaller cone we don't have is x. Now for the larger cone, it's from this point, let me say this point A up to point B. So this is x plus 7 centimeters. So that is for now for the whole cone. Then radius for the small cone is 1.5 centimeters. Then for the larger cone is 5 centimeters. Then we can cross multiply. So 5 centimeters times x is 5 centimeters x. Then here we are going to have 1.5 centimeters times x is 1.5 centimeters x plus 1.5 times 7. So I'm getting 10.5. So 10.5 centimeter, another centimeter, since we have 2 centimeters. Then we can cross multiply. This number can move to this side, giving us 5 centimeters x minus 1.5 centimeters x is equal to 10.5 centimeters. So 5 centimeters x minus 1.5 centimeters x, we get 3.5 centimeters x is equal to 10.5 centimeter times centimeter. So we can divide by 3.5 since we are solving for x, even here by 3.5 centimeters. So if we cancel, we can now cancel 1 centimeter here. So 10.5 divided by 3.5, we get 3 centimeters. So this is our answer here. So the height for the smaller cone is 3 centimeters. So now what is the height for the bigger cone, the big one? So this one, we will have 7 plus 3, so it's 10. So now let's do the math. Let's proceed. So volume is equal to 1 over 3. The pi is 3.142. The radius for the bigger cone is 5 centimeters squared. Height is 10 minus 1 over 3, 3.142. Radius for the smaller cone is 1.5 squared. Then the height is just 3. So let's do the first party here. So the first party, we'll do 3.142 times 5 squared is 25 times 10. So this is 785.5 centimeter cubed. So the volume must have power 3 minus, let's do, so 3.142 times 1.5 squared times 3. So I'm getting 21.285 centimeters squared over 3. So let's go to 785.5 divided by 3. So my answer is 261.8333. So recurring, we just say 0.3 centimeters cubed minus 21.2085 divided by 3, getting 7.0695 centimeters squared, meaning cubed. So the final answer is 1.8 minus 7.0695. So I'm getting 254.7 centimeters cubed. So this is how you can find the volume of a frustum. So you need to find the volume of the larger cone and the smaller, then you do the subtraction. So that's it for this video. And please, if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out the soon to be uploaded videos. So thanks for watching.